start streaming. Once I...
Thank you. Video. Look at Amanda. Look at your contour work.
cannot live without you. I cannot live without you. You cannot live without me. She went ashore.
I think we have audio now.
Woohoo!
Okay, I'm going to start over. Welcome and thank you for joining us for the official release party of Love Fail by David Lang. We're Quince Ensemble. If you're new to our group, thanks for checking us out. We formed in 2010 and have always been performing music by living composers of all stripes, from folks who are new and just starting out, and established composers like David Lang. We're excited about his piece, and we were so excited to record it. We've been wanting to record it for years now. It was actually Liz who first brought it to our attention, and we immediately loved it. We were already mega fans of Anonymous 4, who had commissioned the work and released the original recording. So when they officially retired, we decided to take up the piece and give it a nice long life. And we scheduled a rehearsal residency for the piece before we even had a performance lined up. But then out of the blue, David Lang and Beth Morrison got in touch with an invitation to bring the piece to Poland for the Cody Festival. And suddenly we were booking flights for a rehearsal and performance that was just a couple months away. So now here we are releasing this album. And so one of the things that we did for tonight is we sent out a call for an Ask Us Anything, and we'll be spreading those throughout the night. But one of the questions was to share funny tour stories. So we're going to share some of the tour stories and rehearsal stories for Love Fail, and starting out with Liz.
Okay, so what you have to understand about booking something not too long in advance is we're all sort of busy freelance musicians, and then we sort of come together and Captain Planet our way to being Quince. And right before this, I was in an opera contract. Amanda was doing a bunch of Stockhausen. Carrie and Kaylee were doing amazing things. We had exactly one day in all of spring 2016 where we could actually meet with David Lang to rehearse the piece. And that was Easter Sunday 2016, which was just, a couple weeks after one of our members had knee surgery, which wouldn't have been such a big deal if navigating New York in a leg brace wasn't super painful. Also, if our rehearsal with Maestro Lang was not in a, fifth floor walk-up, where the landlord had spitefully closed off the elevator years previous. So delightful Carrie had to scoot up 5 flights of stairs on her behind.
And we have footage of this amazing feat.
Master. Get a shot of all of those stairs. Oh, sad.
Nice. Yes, we were very impressed. And after that, we actually had a nice rehearsal at the apartment. Yes. Anything else, Liz, from that amazing time in our lives?
I always marvel how quickly it had to come together, but how quickly it did come together. And I just remember stepping onto the stage at the Cody Festival in Lublin for the first time. It was this huge, beautiful, brand new theater in the city of Lublin in, I think, southeastern Poland. And, the first time we sang it, it just felt like home. It felt like something we'd been doing for years, and I'm so excited that we finally get to share it with so many people.
Yes. Okay, Carrie, what you got? Memories.
You know, I was trying to think of memories, especially from that time, but honestly, it was a total blur because I was on so many painkillers that like remember barely anything. Kaylee and I both had a Messiah gig in St. Paul that I was running actually, and also was singing solos and stuff. I remember nothing. I remember that I had a surgery, and I remember the clothes I wore out of the hospital. And the rest of that, like next 2 weeks, I have to read about it to remember what happened.
You remember the clothes that you were wearing because all of them had sheeps on them in honor of the Messiah, I believe.
It's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kaylee, you're up.
So I wish I had more to say, but man.
Yeah.
Dark.
Don't worry, Carrie, we will never forget. I remember, so one from our tour is we went to the Johnstones in Columbus, Ohio, the lovely Johnstones. Hope you guys are watching and listening. They brought us out a few years ago. I'm not sure how long ago after that it was, but
2017.
2017, okay. And we sang on the Short North Stage, which if you've ever been to Columbus, it's this beautiful venue. But they also had a show going on while we were on tour and while we were performing. And remind me, Amanda, what it was called. You texted me about it.
The play was called Hand to God, about a possessed puppet.
Yes. So in the background, Amanda, has the photo.
It's sharing.
We had to perform on this stage where it had like upside down crosses and like fake blood everywhere and like a weird Tickle Me Elmo that was evil somehow. And
that was the main character, yeah.
Main character, yes. And it was probably one of my favorite sets that we've ever gotten to sing on, for sure. Another memory that I have, moving on from the tour stuff, going to the recording part of this project, this piece, is when we were recording at Wild Sound in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, right? It's in Minneapolis, not St. Paul, Minneapolis. And we were finally doing the listening. And if you're familiar with this piece or heard this piece or seen performances of us before, we play small percussion instruments on top of singing. So we were listening in the booth to make sure that everything was lining up, and Carrie had just given up and was listening really, really hard, but like had no capacity for anything else. So she just started planking face down on the floor, and Amanda has like a little video of that, I believe, too.
Here we go.
Yes.
Oh, the desperation.
It worked. It worked.
Why are there so many videos of me in suffering?
I think you should take this to heart.
I'm living in pain is Carrie's.
Carrie lives in pain, yeah.
So one of our Ask Us Anythings was, what's the craziest thing you've done in the downtime on a tour? So while we were on that infamous Love Fail tour of 2017, we were in Ohio, and once again, I'm sure Carrie was in pain for some reason, and we had just sort of given up. This was a tour where we like decided we were going to be healthy and try to cook a bunch of like food in our hotel rooms. And so then our hotel rooms always smelled really bad. Anyway, we decided to get out, and we went to the Great Wolf Lodge indoor water park. And this is us.
Sandusky, Ohio.
Sandusky, Ohio. And this is us with our little hats on. And I just remember being in the lazy river with Liz. And that was really fun. And we got tarot readings later that night. I don't think Liz got a tarot reading, though. That was pretty...
I watched a flamenco percussionist in the car instead.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Nice. So we're going to do a couple more Ask Us Anythings. But before that, I just want to check in. What's everyone drinking?
Oh, I'll start. I'm drinking a beer from Omnipolo, I think is the brewery. It's a mango margarita slush IPA.
Oh my God.
Cheers.
That sounds
cheers.
so
Nice.
gross.
Wait, is it slushy?
It says slush IPA. I don't know what that means, but it's not like a Limerita, guys. Don't like get me
Oh,
wrong.
man.
It's better than that. It's better than that.
That
Alright.
reminds me of another painful story from Texas, but I'm not even going to start because
That's for our next Zoom call.
that
Yeah.
was a bad idea.
Yeah.
Carrie, what you got?
I'm drinking this delicious, toasty Pierre Callot champagne. Charlie told me that the guy who was making it apparently died this year and his sons inherited the farm and they had to sell the farm, so there were hardly any bottles left.
Oh no, that's a sad story.
I'm sipping it.
Cheers.
Enjoy your like extinct champagne. That's
I will
beautiful.
soon have a margarita. Liz, what do you have?
I found a bottle of Perła at the grocery store last
Oh, that's lovely. The
Um,
Polish
night.
beer.
which- yes, it's a Polish beer. I'm not sure if it's actually brewed in Lublin, but it was definitely one of two main things I remember drinking in Poland, along with Zubrowka, or their bison grass vodka, which is delicious.
Nice.
Less delicious, the schnapps. I remember schnapps.
And Amanda, you're drinking White Claw, right?
Girl.
Hey, we could get a sponsorship.
Okay, it's time for another round of Ask Us Anything.
Ask us anything.
Okay, first up, what's your favorite movement on the new Love Fail album? I know Liz's.
You do.
Yeah.
I love Head Heart. It's really pretty. And then I cry a lot. So,
Yeah.
It's very satisfying.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful movement.
Agreed.
Kaylee?
Mine is a combination of I Live in Pain and the last movement, actually Mild Light. Mostly because when we had to listen back to all the edits, I was just amazed that all four of our voices could actually blend that well. Maybe that's for Steve. That's a shout out to Steve Call
And
from
Fred.
Wild Sound and Fred Gifford, our producer. Props to them for making us sound
gosh.
amazing.
Carrie,
For those
do
who
you
don't
have
know
a
the album
favorite
yet.
movement?
yeah.
I mean, definitely Head Heart, although my favorite movement to perform is, it's one that I'm not, it's your solo, a different man. No. Which is the
Liz's?
one that you sing?
Oh, Forbidden Subjects.
Forbidden Subjects. That's the one that the audience always reacts to the most because it's so like easy to connect with.
Yeah.
Because I mean, even if it's not about your spouse, everybody's had a relationship where they cannot talk about certain topics. And you know, I love that one because you can hear people listening to the words, and that makes me so happy.
Oh, wow.
You know, little chortles, little NPR chortles.
Mine is The Wood and the Vine, No Competition. It's so beautiful. It's so fun to sing, and I don't have to work that hard. Okay, what kitchen utensil would you be, and why?
Kaylee?
I was gonna say either an ice cream scooper because ice cream is awesome, or someone recently told me about a margarita machine that you can buy for your home. Does that count as a utensil?
I'll give it to you.
Okay, great.
Wait, why would you be that? Just because you think it's an admirable object, or because you
100%.
are that thing?
Well,
Have a margarita.
can I be both? Can
Yeah,
it be both?
girl. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers, guys. Cheers, everybody watching and listening.
Thank you, sir.
I think I would utensil. I think I'd be a whisk because I just like to bring everything together.
I like
All
that.
right. Carrie?
Oh man. I mean, if it has to be the thing that I admire the most, it would have to be an Instant Pot. Cause man, those things, they don't screw anything up.
You're like an Instant Pot.
Oh, I would love to
Down
be
to the
an
millisecond.
Instant Pot. I would love to be like a precision instrument that like quickly satisfies you.
Oh my gosh.
And when you're done, everyone hears you for 5 minutes because all
That's
they
for the
hear-
kitchen? Are we talking about the kitchen?
Or are we just talking about things that are dishwasher safe?
Hey.
All right, Liz.
Oh my goodness. Hi, Katie. I was thinking whisk because, or like balloon was like a big dumb one, the kind that it's a pain in the butt to get into or out of a drawer. Just because sometimes I feel like I don't quite fit in
Aw.
places. But then I've been thinking about this literally all day. I don't know who asked this question,
Eliza
but they're
Brown,
a genius.
thank you
It
so
was
much.
Eliza.
Shout out,
Thank you,
Eliza.
It's getting really heavy.
I want to be a stand
Eliza.
You know what? Liz says stand mixer, and you are definitely a KitchenAid mixer girl because you are timeless, and you are tough, and you are
And
built
I come in
well.
so many colors.
Okay. All right, we're going to share another video from the album. This is Forbidden Subjects, which Carrie just gave a little shout out to, as long as I can. Where did it go? Here it is.
Soon almost every subject they might want to talk about is associated with yet another unpleasant scene, and becomes a subject they can't talk about, so that as time goes by, there is less and less they can safely talk about, and eventually
are we?
little else but the news. And what they're reading, though not all of what they're reading. They can't talk about certain members of the family. His working hours, her working hours, rabbits, mice, dogs, certain foods, certain universities, hot weather, hot and cold room temperatures at night, and in the day, lights on and lights off, in the evening, in summer, the piano, music in general, how
Nailed it.
And I'm figuring it all out. Okay, great. I love technology.
We did it.
We did it. So that was a little excerpt from Forbidden Subjects. I hear we're going to do some more.
Ask us anything.
Okay, so we're gonna just get quick round of what Myers-Briggs and horoscope or signs. Sorry, Alex Temple, if you're watching, I know that you don't care about what our signs are. I am INFP and Cancer.
I am an ENFP and a Taurus.
I am an INTJ and an Aquarius.
I'm also an INTJ, and I'm a Sag.
And we represent water, earth, fire, and air. So we are very balanced elementally.
Someone asked specifically for Enneagrams, but I don't know what those are.
Yeah,
so
we'll
we're
get to
gonna
that
have to. We'll get to it later.
Follow us on Facebook, and we will post that.
Yes.
Okay, so what some of our questions, I don't know if there's a real answer to, but we should think deeply about them. This one is it worth it? Can I work it? Put my thing down, flip it, and reverse it. Okay, so
Are they all questions or some of those commands?
There were question marks after each, so implied questions.
Yeah, you need to upspeak. You need to read it again, Amanda, with upspeak.
Is it worth
please.
it? Can I work it? I'll put my thing down, flip it, and reverse it. Okay. Peanut butter and pickles? I'm going to say no.
Oh, we missed the part about what's on your playlist right now, I think was the culmination of that.
Oh, what's on our playlist right now? Emmylou Harris and Gillian Welch.
Joan Shelley, Fiona Apple, Laura Mavula. Yeah.
Def Leppard, always. I'm not even joking, actually. Last night we listened to the Complete Hysteria. And I have to say, if it had not been for Pour Some Sugar on Me, more people would listen to that album.
Aw.
All right.
I am listening to some Cosmo Sheldrake and Daft Punk's Alive album in my car on a loop forever.
Nice.
That's on brand.
Okay. Really quick, lightning round. What artist did you most admire as kids?
Barbara Streisand.
Bernadette Peters.
No shame.
I think Prince, actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Nirvana, Liz.
No, probably a famous clarinetist.
Charles Neidig, actually, yeah.
All right. Okay, here is Liz's favorite movement, head, heart.
Heart weeps, head tries to help heart. Head tells heart how it is again. You will lose the ones you love. They will all go, but even the earth will go someday. Heart feels better than but the words of head do not remain long in the ears of heart. Heart is so new to this. I want them back, says heart. Head is all heart has. Help, head. Help, heart.
We are back. Okay, great. This is the demonstration portion of the evening. And first, we did a coloring contest, and I want to shout out to the people who submitted some entries here. Entry number 1, it's beautiful, done by hand. Entry number 2, how lovely and botanical. Entry number 3, we really appreciate the crowns. All right. So we get a lot of questions about extended vocal techniques. And a while back, I made an extended technique generator. So we figured let's, have a little fun. Liz arranged one of our favorite songs, It's All Coming Back to Me by the French-Canadian icon Celine Dion. And we thought we would do a little extended technique rendition of this song. So, ladies, whenever you're ready, Liz will start us off.
There were nights when the wind was so cold that my body froze in bed if I just listened to it right outside the window.
There were when the sun was so that all the tears turned to dust and I just knew my eyes were forever.
I finished crying in the instant that you left, and I can't remember where, when, or how. And I banished every memory you and I had ever
But when you touch me like this, and you hold me like that, I just have to admit that it's all coming back to me. When I touch you like this, and I hold you like that,
It's so hard to believe, but
it's all coming back to me.
There were moments of gold and there were flashes of fire. There were things I never knew again, but then they'd always been right.
There was a endless pleasure. It was more than any loss allowed. Baby, baby, baby.
if you want me like this, and if you need me like that.
It was dead long ago, but it's all coming back to me. It's hard to resist, and it's all coming back to me.
But it's all coming back to me. Oh.
Oh, wow. I'm so glad I recorded that. That's embarrassing.
I'm so glad we're drinking.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we got to get David Lang on this call, but first, we have been working with a wonderful videographer in Chicago who's named Gary Grzinski, and he's been making some awesome videos for us. So we wanted to share a little video from him before we start talking with our friend Mr. Lang.
I was telling you a story. The wood and the vine, the wood and the vine. That is also the truth.
Some of us who shall remain nameless got really emotional singing part of the piece because it's a very sad piece in some ways.
I cry every time we perform this piece because it's so emotional, and I'm such a sap.
Love Fail really tackles love not just as a bunch of soap opera type scenes. You know, it's not the death scene in Traviata or Così fan tutte and the dim-witted lovers. It's real people who have, you know, gray areas in their relationships. Some of the stories are very dramatic, and then some of them are just about how our relationships spiral out of control just because of small things. And some of them are about the great love of your life and that sensation that you knew it was the one and you couldn't get it.
There's one movement that I cannot get through, and we have the option of me doing it as a solo or doing a quartet version, and we have to do it as a quartet because I won't be able to get through it if it's a solo. So yeah, I'm an emotional person. What can I say? So sue me.
I thought if you were having a party, I should have some, celebratory white wine.
Oh yeah, we're all drinking here.
Okay, we are back, and we are joined by the wonderful Mr. David Lang, one of our absolute favorite people. So, David, what are you drinking tonight?
I'm drinking a glass of Sancerre. It's delicious and it's cold, and I'm in Houston where it is very hot. So I find that cold white wine comes in very handy.
Yes, you are quarantined in Houston unexpectedly.
Yeah, so we're here for the duration.
Well, cheers to you, sir. We're so glad to have you.
Cheers to you all, and here's to your new record. So
Thank you
congratulations
so much.
to you all.
So
Yeah.
we just found out that David's favorite movement of the piece is Kaylee's conch shell movement.
God.
Yes, which she freaking nailed. So we need Kaylee to do a little demonstration.
Oh God. Okay, so we're not showing the videos, I'm just demonstrating.
You're just going to demonstrate. You could introduce it if you need to.
Okay, sure. So I had to learn the conch shell, and shout out to the person that I bought it from who created this little beeswax mouthpiece, because otherwise there was no way I was going to be able to play this.
And that's Daniel Eastman.
Let me also note Daniel Eastman. He has a website, I believe. We can post about it later, maybe. But let me also just say before I play it that the note in the score, David, is not heroic. He wrote not heroic. And it also says, hold until the breath runs out and the sound becomes broken and unstable. So it was kind of fun to learn this and strange at the same time because you have to be able to play it, but you're not supposed to exactly be really good at it. So I felt like I nailed it.
It's just like love. It's just like love.
Yes.
Oh, whoa. Yes. That's the mind blown off emoji right there.
Yes. Okay, so if you're wearing headphones, it's going to be very loud. So, be forewarned. And also, I'm wearing lipstick. I should probably wipe it off. Hold on. Here we go.
So
Thank
great.
you.
So I can tell you if you are interested about why there is a conch shell there.
Please do.
Please.
So
that was one of my questions. Yeah.
Well, originally I was going to have like a ram's horn or something, because I thought, we're trying to do this thing in this piece that goes back and forth in time, right? There are things that are about modern love. There's Lydia Davis stories about who we are now. And there's ancient love. So there's the Tristan and Isolde story, which I don't need to tell any of your music-loving fans is a story that doesn't end well, right? So the piece is about the sort of the mythology around love. It's like why we think about love this particular way, who we are, our memory of it, and about how essentially all love ends really badly. I'm sorry to tell you, I don't want to give away the spoiler, right? But as my wife said to me, the most beautiful and emotional thing my wife ever said to me is when we were on our way to get married, she said, you know what this means? It means one of us will bury the other one. So there's something really heavy about this whole thing, but something really beautiful about it too, right? It's beautiful for as long as it lasts. So I thought, what's something that's ancient that happens? And I thought, people are calling to each other over long distances with horns. And I thought about a post horn or a male horn or about an alp horn, which is just too silly. And then I thought, okay, a ram's horn, that's really great because I own a few ram's horns because, they're used in the Jewish, liturgy, right? So, and then I thought, well, it's not really a Jewish thing, because, the Tristan story is not really, like the whole Wagner thing is not really good for Jews. So I thought, I need something else that like is kind of elemental and heroic and something that has this kind of feeling of like making something from the natural world into a call, right, to wake us up. And I asked everybody in Anonymous 4, I just said, I just have a curious question for you. Do any of you play conch shell? And it turned out that Susan said, I have a conch shell. I'm a master. I'm a conch shell virtuosa. So I thought, okay, I'm going to put it in there. So then I thought about it and I thought, there's something about the sound which is so beautiful and so strong and so powerful. But if the point of this piece is about how beautiful love is until it isn't, about how beautiful love can be and then it ends, then this call should last a little long, right? It shouldn't be like it's this heroic call that says that we're capable of doing something really good. It should be this thing that says we're capable of doing this thing that's really good until we can't. And that's why I asked for it to be this kind of heroic thing that then fizzles out. Because I sort of feel like that's what life is, basically. It's like we make the best we can and we have a really good time and we're having this incredible time with each other, and eventually we won't have it. And so so I thought I wanted to see both of those things, and that's why I asked for the conch shell to be that way. You know, I think it's really clear from this piece. I think way too hard about all of
You
this.
just
right?
gave
You know,
some graduate student the perfect like dissertation topic. Like expression in contemporary conch shell.
you know, I am full of them, really. If someone's missing a dissertation subject, they should just call me up, and I can make one up.
Oh my gosh.
But I would say I also think it's kind of comical because you expect it to be heroic. Like no one typically is going to go on stage and purposefully fail, or just kind of peter out. And I feel like sometimes we get laughs for that, for forbidden subjects, and also a little NPR chortle, as Carrie likes to put it.
Well, laughing is good. You know, like Forbidden Subjects is really funny, and some of the pieces are really funny. You know? But essentially, it's funny till it isn't. You know, and the conch shell, I only thought of it because there's this wonderful moment in the John Cage construction number 3, right, which is one of the great percussion masterpieces of the you know, of any time, right? And so this piece is made of found objects, and it's made of all sorts of junk, and it's really exciting, and it's really rhythmic, and it gets as exciting as it could possibly get. There's no other place for it to go until one of the players comes out and starts blowing a conch shell, and you go, that is the only thing that can top this moment where we are. You know? Yeah. So I think for people who are steeped in the percussion world, as I am, we associate the conch shell with being sort of like, what is the experience you can have that takes where you are to the highest possible level, higher than you can possibly imagine.
Oh my gosh.
You know?
That's
and that's why I thought it was also perfect for this, you know. Cage did a lot of things with conch shells. There's a beautiful piece called Inlets, which is for 2 conch shells full of water that are just being rotated like this.
Oh my God, Kaylee, you have to play that.
It's so beautiful. It's so gorgeous, you know.
Oh wow.
I just need to find another conch shell player.
There you go. There you go.
Oh yeah,
you know,
Susan.
I have a feeling. I'm not kidding, but I have a feeling that you could make a 4-person version with 4 conch shells of Inlets. Man. And that would probably give your voice a rest in the middle of a concert, and it'd be incredibly beautiful.
Well, let's pair that with Love Fail someday.
Ooh, we will look into that.
So we got some questions from
questions too. Yeah.
Okay, great. Are there people watching this? By the way, I'm not on the other feed, so are there people in your room? Are there people watching?
Says 89
fantastic.
Viewers.
89 viewers.
Yeah.
Hey everyone.
Well,
and there's a little chat going with lots of people.
I am full of love for you. So, and not like Love Fail, my love for you will never end.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
Well, yeah, Kaylee has some questions for you. And we'll just
so
keep
my first question. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I just thought, is my sound working? Am I good? Okay,
you
great.
sound great.
So thank you. So my first question, I know you said that the conch shell is your favorite movement, but do you have a favorite movement of Love Fail with the singing part?
I like a lot of things for a lot of different reasons. So I think a lot of parts of it are there, you know, because I wrote the Tristan texts myself, I took them from these other things that I have some things that I like for the text reasons. Mm-hmm. And like one of the parts that always gets me, first of all, the Lydia Davis song Head Heart is really beautiful. So that text is really beautiful. And I think that always gets me because it's about, you know, the text is about how we each of us have our head and our heart, and they're trying to have a conversation with each other about how to make it through life. And it's very emotional and it's very touching, you know, so I think that's really beautiful. And I tried to make the music as what I love about her writing is it's just 1-syllable words, basically. You know, it's very simple and very plain spoken and very, you know, easy to understand things that she's put together in this place that's very complicated and deep, you know. So I tried to do that with the music, to just be as pure and as simple and elegant as possible with what I did with that. And I think what you do with that movement sounds so beautiful. It really is one of the highlights of the CD for me, is because it sounds so simple, and it just lets the words overtake you, which is really powerful. The words are great, right? So that's a musical highlight for me. But the text highlight, there's one of these things that's really incredible, where in the Gottfried von Strassburg version, because just to explain for some of the people who are in our viewing audience, there's so many different stories that are in the Tristan legend, because the Tristan legend was originally an oral tradition. So people told it very differently. So when I decided to embrace Tristan in this, I thought maybe I would go to the different sources, and I would take not what is agreed upon in those sources, but just what's different in those sources. Like, what are the things that they don't agree on? What's a detail that's in one story that's not in the others, right? The general story of, Tristan falls in love with Isolde. They, drink a love potion. It makes them fall in love. They didn't want to drink the love potion. They fall in love. Then they all die miserably. I mean, those things that they agree on are not the interesting parts. To me, the interesting parts are the places where the stories disagree. So one of the texts that I adapted from the Gottfried from Strasbourg, which I love so much, is where they talk about the potion, right? About and he says, oh, it's not wine. They didn't drink wine. They're drinking a love potion, right? And someone refers to it as wine. Oh, it's not wine. It's never-ending sorrow. It's a cup of sadness, is what it is. And so this discussion, this idea that what you're getting into in this relationship, what love is this thing that's eventually going to be very sad for one of you, or maybe for both of you. That idea that it's sort of in a kind of a Jesus sense, right? This wine has been transmogrified into being something which is more than wine, right? It's a cup of sadness, right? It's never-ending sorrow. But the thing that's incredible about the story, and the thing that I love about this little movement, is it says, we all know how painful this is. We all know that this is never-ending sorrow. We drink it anyway. We want this wine. We're going to drink it anyway. So to me, that part always gets me when I listen to it. When the text goes, it is not wine. It is our never-ending sorrow, and we drink it. So there's some things.
You Will Love Me? Is that the name of the?
It's called You Will Love Me.
And it has the
You will love
gnarliest
me,
harmony.
me alone. Yeah. And the harmony is really hard to do in tune. So thank you very much. But no, it's very difficult, but it's really beautiful. But to me, that's really one of the core messages of the piece, which is that we know that this relationship will end in sadness. We know that relationships will break up, or someone will die, or love will end, right? There is no unending love, right? There is no everlasting love, right? Something will end, right? There is sorrow at the end of all of this journey, and yet we drink it. It's the cup of sorrow, and we drink it. That's our goal, right?
Yes. Cheers.
So to me, that's one of the cores of the piece, right? Yeah, and I'm gonna drink this because this is not never ending. This is something. It's very good.
That is wine. Well, and so you mentioned that you wrote some of the lyrics or some of the text for this. Is that normal for you? Have you done that for quite a few other pieces, or was it unique to this?
I try to write most of my texts. So I think when you work with a librettist, you get someone's talent. I'm not a very good writer. I don't consider myself a writer, and I can't start from nothing. Like, if I have a blank sheet of paper, I will be staring at it for a very long time, But with a writer, I think what you get is someone else's thing that they're interested in. You get their curiosity and their passions and the things that move them. And I think, for me at least, the point of writing these pieces is so I can figure out more who I am and what makes me feel emotional, and what makes me feel emotional the way I want to feel emotional. I'm not into Mahler 10, here is the greatest, most devastating thing that happened. Let's listen to the loudest bass drum ever that will devastate you to your soul. I'm not really interested in that. I'm interested in the thing that's really subtle, that's really like slightly depressing, that if you think about it, there's like room for you to go deeper and deeper into how you think about it. So you can get a little more depressed and feel a little more thoughtful and feel a little more aware of your situation and your environment. But I don't want to make anybody miserable, right? And I don't want to cry too much. I want to cry a little, but I don't really want to cry a lot. And so the problem that I find with working with librettists, as great as it is to have someone who's a real writer, is that they have things they want to do, right? And so it's hard for me to go to a writer and say, all the things that I'm really passionate about that make me think about myself, can you write them for me? So what I've decided to do is, when I can, is to try to be the writer of record, And so what that means is doing things like what I did here is I found the Lydia Davis texts, which made sense. And I found a bunch of old versions of Tristan stories, which I could adapt. And the adapting made me able to sort of craft around the Lydia Davis stories so that I could have kind of the best of both worlds. But everything, like The Loser, this opera I did this past year, which was, an opera that's from a book by Thomas Bernhardt, but I had to be able to adapt the book and take the things out of it that I couldn't make work, and I shaped my way through it. The piece that I just did, the opera that I just did, Prisoner of the State, which was my rewriting of Beethoven's Fidelio. I took parts of the original and rewrote them, and I took other kinds of things from other sources and I added them and rewrote them. There are only one of two places that are really me writing from scratch. So, but I feel like that's important, to be able to do that much writing, even though it's mostly just adaptation, but that much so that I can shape something so that it's aiming towards this kind of peculiar, slightly depressing, but thoughtful, emotional world that I choose to live in.
Yeah. Hashtag goals.
Hashtag, yeah. Goals.
Hashtag goals. Well, so if any of you guys also have questions, feel free to chime in. But I was also just kind of wondering, outside of this piece, what are you doing with your time?
I know I talk a lot, but this is so much fun. I'm really happy. So I love this record. I'm really happy. I hope, that people listen to it, and, I'm happy you are asking me these nice questions and letting me blather on. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for being here. You're so excited.
So what am I doing now?
What are you doing with your time? Yeah, not necessarily what you're working on musically, but what you're doing to pass the time during the day during this quarantine in Houston.
I've been working a lot, and I'm still teaching, right? Our semester is still going at Yale, so I still have a teaching load. Plus, also on May 3rd, Bang on a Can is doing a big marathon. So we decided at Bang on a Can that even though everyone is sequestered, we've always done this big marathon format. And this year we had moved to a 3-day gigantic megalopolis festival where we were doing over 60 concerts, all within walking distance in Brooklyn over 3 days. So the idea is that people would come and go to different concerts. And we've been working on this festival for 2 years. And of course, because of COVID, we had to cancel it. But we decided that we would go back to our marathon format. We really needed to do something. And a lot of the musicians that depend on us have no money. And so we need to pay them. And so we are doing on May 3rd, this gigantic 6.5, 7 hour long marathon festival of solo performances with Meredith Monk, and we have John Adams, we have Steve Reich, and we have all sorts of young composers and young performers, and the Bang on a Can All-Stars playing individually. So you'll get to see what the insides of their houses look like, which I'm curious about. So we've been working on that, which has been taking a lot of time during my day, and also it's quarantine. My entire family is here. So we're in Houston, and my children are all grown and they all live with us in New York, right? So in our loft downtown. So when we moved down here, we all moved together. And so there's a lot of kind of family dynamic. And so, which is, it's actually, it's been fantastic, actually. I mean, I know that people are suffering and I feel terrible for that. And especially I feel like I'm really, you know, it's unfortunate that I'm not in New York. I feel like I should be there. You know, we came down here because my wife's mother passed away, unfortunately. So we all had to come down here for this. And I feel like other than that, we would be in New York. And I feel like one of the things that was really beautiful about September 11th was that to be in New York there, like people in New York are not always nice to each other, but like when you're suffering together, that's when everybody's really fantastic. You know, that's when you really want to be in New York. So like you can't have a good conversation with a stranger in New York if you're like in the grocery store. But if you're like in a line for a movie where you should have gone in 15 minutes earlier and it hasn't gone in yet, then you can have a conversation with anybody. And so suffering in New York is really the place where we all pull together, you know, and September 11th was really beautiful and very emotional for me, you know. It was really meaningful for me to be there. And I feel like I'm missing something from being there, you know. So on the one hand, we're completely safe here, which is great. On the other hand, I feel like I wish I were there. So are you guys in the city or where are you?
I'm in the city. I'm in Brooklyn and Kensington, and I totally agree. Everyone is a little bit nicer and makes a little bit more eye contact than usual these days. Even when, you know, there are lines getting into bodegas at this point and things like that where we normally would look down, not make eye contact, and just be on our phones the whole time. But you know, it's a totally different atmosphere, a totally different vibe when people are experiencing tragedy here at the same time. So I totally agree. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Amanda, go ahead.
Well, I was just wondering if David might participate in our silly Ask Us Anything experiment.
Oh.
We had people submit questions.
That?
Well, we had people submit random questions of a very serious nature.
I'm here drinking wine.
Okay.
It's a party.
Great. So I have a couple questions for you.
Okay, good.
Ask us anything.
And the first one is, so what emoji would you be?
What emoji would I be? That's a really good one. I don't really know emoji very well.
I
don't really.
You'd be the conch shell emoji. Come on.
Is there a conch shell emoji? Because there should be.
There is.
I don't really have an emoji, so because that's, you know, I'm a senior citizen, you know, so I really don't know. You should ask me, you know, what
kitchen utensil.
Kind of transistor radio I have.
Okay.
What kind of
hand tool do you whittle your pencils with to write your
That's
scores?
right. You should ask me which kind of crank up car I drive.
Okay, next Ask Me Anything is what's on your playlist? What are you listening to?
What's on my playlist? What's my listening to? That is a really good question. I have to think about it. Well, Banana Can came out with a record very recently. Cantaloupe came out with a record rather called by this artist named Mira O'Reilly. I've been listening to that a bunch. It's basically it's kind of algorithmic. You know, it's things sort of colliding for you know, kind of like change rhythm, you know, kind of things, which is really beautiful. What have I been listening to? That is a great concert. I actually have been listening to a bunch of things, but it's I wouldn't say it's on my playlist, but I'm really down. This is amazing. Okay, yeah, you just reminded me. I have actually been listening to something, but it's for work. So I didn't consider it to be on my playlist. But
it counts.
But it's been taking up a lot of time. Yeah. So I am writing music for a film right now for the filmmaker Bill Morrison, and that film takes place in Russia. And so I have been writing a song which the singer Shara Nova will sing in this movie. And Shara, you know, I studied in Russia actually, surprisingly, I studied in Russia, and surprisingly, so did Sharanova, which is really funny. So I'm writing this song in Russian, and Shara will sing it, and it will be in this
That's awesome.
movie by Bill Morrison. And so I just had this idea, well, what does folk song sound like in Russia now, right? You know, I grew up singing Russian folk songs. I know a lot about Russian history and Russian culture. I thought this is really interesting. So I just thought, well, we have this program, you know, The Voice, or America's Got Talent, or these things or whatever, where people sing in America. They must have that in Russia. So I just went to Golos Russia, and oh my God, I have been inundated with, you know, Russian, you know, like post-folk, you know, pop stars singing for giant national audiences, singing all these Russian songs, right? So there's one, you know, Pelagaya, right? Pelagaya, right? Pelagaya, I guess is her name. There's one, Zara, who's amazing. I mean, I've been listening to them, and it's so fun. Actually, it's so fun. And so I've distilled the 3 characters for Russian folk songs that now have to go into my song for this movie. Right?
Wow.
One is they have to love the land, right? Because the land is beautiful. We love Russia. We love, you know, wheat and fruit and the Russian land and the earth and the things that make us love nature, right? We love those. We love a love song where the love ends badly. You know, we love the song where the love is unrequited, where a woman is singing to a man who doesn't love her, or a man is singing to a woman who doesn't love her, right? Doesn't love him, right? Or it's not going to work out for some reason. And these are the most flowery and the most beautiful songs. There's one song that tells the story of a love gone wrong, right? Where the woman is in love with the man and the man will never love her. And the very last lines of the song are, my eyes, how could you have betrayed me?
Ooh.
Unbelievable, so unbelievable. And then there are the other ones, which are about the man, the woman whose man has gone off to war, right? Mm-hmm. So some of those are, or the man who has gone off to war, right? So they're the war songs, right? So either the woman, her man is killed in the war, or the man whose woman won't go out with him, so he enlists and then sings a line like, and so I will marry a bullet and the bayonet will be my best man. Or the song where it's just the guy going to war who goes, I had a dream, and what does my dream mean? And someone says, oh, I know what your dream means. It means you're going to die in the battle tomorrow. And sure enough, he does. So
sounds very Russian.
For the past couple of weeks, this is all I have been doing, is listening to these Russian songs. And they're so over the top. And I have to say, I'm in way, way, way too deep. But it's really, it's been really
interesting
beautiful.
Because you're in the place in the world that might be the most opposite of Russia, in Houston, Texas.
Well,
in Houston.
Actually, you know what? One thing about Russian culture that's really interesting is that there's this idea that they are in a place where they can't escape. That, like, you know, that there's, you know, it's not really ever progress. You know, we're just gonna continue this cycle of, you know, new despot. And I feel like Texas might.
Carrie, I'm going to need you to start over and say this with your Russian accent.
No.
Right.
Okay. Well, on that note, I think we need to. I need to refresh my drink, and so let's wrap it up. I want to thank everyone for watching tonight, and very special thank you to David Lang. Yay!
Woo! Thank you all very much. This has been super fun, and I wish you all the best success.
Thank you so much
Thank you.
for sharing
Thank
this
you for
with
this.
us. We wish we could all be in person, of
We have
course.
to also
I
thank
know.
Steve Call, our engineer at Wild Sound, and Frederick Gifford, our producer. And did you know Carrie Henneman Shaw created our album art? So bravo
Woo
to
woo!
her.
And it's beautiful. It's really,
gorgeous.
it's a very beautiful looking record.
She really knocked it out of the park. And we have to thank Innova Recordings for being our fierce advocates in this process. You can get this album on that Innova website. Check out our website if you want. It's on Apple Music. It's going to soon be on Spotify and Tidal and other streaming platforms, so keep an eye out. And thank you so much, everyone who has just been supporting us throughout our time. And thank you, David. Everyone.
Yeah. Oh, one last thing. One last thing.
Okay,
Oh, sorry.
you can say one
And
last
then
thing, but
David.
I'd like to say one last thing too.
Yeah.
Yes, please. So my only thing is, if you buy the album today, a physical album, we will mail. Yeah, there it is. Liz has made custom. She will tailor like little bracelets, beaded bracelets for you that are quarantine.
Let's not go nuts.
No,
Quarantine.
social distancing theme.
Social distance themed
Send your
bracelets.
wrist size. Just
Yes,
kidding.
and candy hearts to you. So if you've purchased an album, not a digital, I'm sorry guys, but if you've purchased a physical album, we will mail these to you to, if you buy it today.
Last.
While supplies last. I'm so sorry. I've been drinking. While supplies last.
And David.
Okay, now I've got two
David.
things to say.
Okay, great.
Instead of one thing, two things. The first thing is, if you would like to offer a signed CD at some point, I would be happy to sign CD for you if someone would be willing to buy them.
So many
if
of them
they are
too.
signed. That would be fine. That would be, because I'm just sitting here doing nothing, and it might as well be signed.
So David, I will email you about that, and I will also email you a long string of emojis for you to choose from, so that we can, in our next e-blast, show people which emoji you would be.
Great. What's your second thing,
Awesome.
David?
Thank you.
My second thing is, this has been really fun. I really have enjoyed this, and it's really great. And, I think the human connection is the thing that we miss the most at this moment. And I am on Zoom 20 hours a day because all of my classes are on Zoom and all my meetings are on Zoom and everything. So the idea that there's a Zoom experience for me where everyone is drinking and no one is yelling at me about how I haven't done the right thing yet, it is so much fun and so relaxing. So this has been a great experience.
Great.
But I do think that once we can gather, once we can get together live and we can do this thing together, we should gather and we should be together. So if you would like to do this again live in person, if at some point in the future when we can all be together, I would enjoy that very much.
Oh, it's on.
I'm
recording this.
Look, if you give me a glass of wine, I will be there.
Okay.
Sounds like a hand.
Oh, we can guarantee that. Yes, we would definitely love that. Thank you so much, David.
Okay. Well, good
thanks.
night, everyone.
Thanks so much.
Good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
We are out.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Keely apparently left.
Keely left. I mean,
Love you all.
See
Back now. I'm back. Okay, so we're back. We had a couple Ask Us Anythings that we didn't get to, so we just thought we would finish that out quickly.
YOLO.
Could I ask Charles's Ask Anything? He like slipped this by me
Okay.
while we were doing
Please.
the show.
Great. What is it?
He said,
Let's hear
"Is there a-
Charles's question.
Charles Shaw.
Charles's.
Charles's question is there a song you liked as a kid that you've reconnected with recently?
Give me a second.
Does being in high school and watching the Golden Girls count as being a kid?
Yes.
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 Okay, that's the song
100%.
"What I Do" by I think Irving Berlin.
Wait, what is it
Because
called?
there's an episode where Blanche and Dorothy both go to the Rusty Anchor for like lounge music night, and Blanche is being Blanche, but Dorothy sings "What'll I Do" by Irving Berlin, and it was one of the most touching moments of like sitcom television I'd ever seen. And I've loved that song. I sing that song late at night when I'm driving all of the time, and I finally just spent $4 to buy the sheet music for it recently. That's the song.
Nice.
Oh,
I've been reconnecting with that song from that Stephen Sondheim musical that was like a TV opera, and no one knows anything about it except for that one song I remember.
Evening Primrose?
Evening Primrose.
I remember
Yes!
the sky, now that we're all quarantined.
Oh my God!
That is the craziest like plot line of anything I've ever tried to explain to a student. It's worse than a Baroque opera because it's like, oh yeah, a bunch of people living in a department
mall.
store. What?
Yeah. Oh, John Glover wrote in the chat, "What is your guiltiest pleasure pop song that you sing very loud when no one is there?"
Okay,
Why
there's
would
no
I not
such
sing
thing-
it loud when everyone is there?
No such thing as a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with that.
Well,
100%.
except that like there are some things that like I still enjoy despite the fact that like maybe politically or socially they would not be acceptable anymore.
Okay,
you
for
know?
me it's Stand By Your Man.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I get it.
Tammy
More Than Words? Does More Than Words count?
Okay.
Extreme.
Okay, that's a guilty pleasure.
What's wrong with More Than Words? Charlie wants to know.
Yeah, I agree. I concur. Charles's.
I think it's because the men in the video, their hair was too sexy for this world. Carrie, you didn't say what song you've reconnected to. Def Leppard.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
I reconnect to that. It's been part of my heart basically perpetually since 1987.
Okay, there you go.
No, absolutely no. I got through all of these drives back and forth to Chicago explicitly by pressing. I played a game with myself called "When Will I Hear Love Bites," and I would just like press the button on my radio continually until I got to a channel that was playing Love Bites.
Oh my god.
And that's how I stayed awake on 994 getting back to Minnesota.
Wow.
I would say, so this is going to sound really nerdy, but I was a choir kid before, you know,
Morton
that was my
Morrison.
gateway. Who? Moses Hogan. Just kidding.
Leisure Rocky.
No, I recently watched, did you guys watch that Unorthodox show on?
Yeah.
Not yet.
I mean, it was interesting, but like the music conservatory aspect was like hilarious.
Schubert, you did the Andi.
Andi Musique is for sopranos only. Sorry.
Or what? The
That's this.
actual
I'm
hell?
quoting from the show.
Oh.
But they do the Mendelssohn version in German of "Lift Thine Eyes," and I just re-listened to a version that I did in choir, and I've been listening to it a couple times, like every day, and it's so pretty, and I love it so much, and I can sing all 3 parts now.
So when is the a cappella app gonna happen of that specifically?
Oh my god. That sounds like so much
That's a
work.
really good question. It does sound like a lot of work. I don't know if I'm ready for that.
It's what we're doing with one of our schools, basically, right?
Oh yeah, that's work,
Yeah.
man.
That's more work. Well, yeah,
So
I
much
guess
work.
it's actual work, but
Work, W-E-R-K.
you ate.
Next question.
What's your craziest
Stairs.
dream project?
Oh.
Camping out on Björk's front lawn in Iceland and hoping she lets us in the house.
I
I'm
want
going
to.
to
have
say
any
make
plans
field
past that.
recordings of her front yard.
Oh, I could do that. I got my little binaural mics. They look like earphones. It's amazing. I love them. So far, just
They look like
birds.
earphones, but they're not.
The thing is, I have to wear big fuzzy earmuffs with them as windscreens. Otherwise, because the windscreens they came with don't quite work. So I look like a weirdo out in the woods with giant earmuffs on in April.
My dream project, which I told you guys last night during our tech dress rehearsal, is to, if you're watching this still, the 23 people that are watching this right now, if you are interested in this, please write in the chat. I want to do a series of podcast watch-alongs with us for Sister Act and like all of the like music movies that are hilarious that we all grew up with.
8 Mile.
8 Mile. Did you say 8th Mile? That's not it. But the movies that we all watched on the bus choir trips. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, if you're a singer, you know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, touche.
My dream project is a 3-way collab between Quince, Julia Wolf, and Abigail Washburn.
Oh my God. I think
Somebody
you
make
want
it
just
happen.
one. Yeah, that was my dream project that I didn't even know I had until this moment. Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Carrie?
I feel like I'm showing my age by saying that my dream project would just be an entire album of songs with Dolly Parton arranging them for us.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna make
There's that. Oh,
impolite
we got another question. If you were reborn as a sequin, what color would you be?
I've got my champagne.
This is targeted. Yeah, Amanda's the champagne sequins. How about everyone else answer?
Oh.
What's the most
I don't know.
obnoxious sequence color? Because that would be Kaylee.
Holographic. Duh. Hey, I'm holographic sequins.
What if it's translucent with pictures of my face on it? Can that be on a sequin?
How big is that sequin?
It's
As big as you need it to be, baby.
It's like one sequin per boob.
It's actually just one of those, like, what's the thing, like holographic or whatever, where you move the image and you can see 2 images?
Oh, the sequins that flip colors.
So it's Kaylee's face and then it's her ass.
Oh my God, now we're talking merch ideas.
Okay.
Yeah. Mine would be
Everyone who
that
is
my
still on
sequins
this.
were also a magic eye painting. Like people are like staring. Yeah. But just
Yeah,
on my
that's
ass.
good.
The people who are still on here are enjoying this or don't know.
By the
us
way,
at all.
Charlie
They're just like,
refilled this glass with Powlanner.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
I
that's
was
my
gonna say,
jam
that does
right
not
there.
look like healthy champagne right there.
Oh my God.
You guys, I made bread today. Amanda knows this already, but I used fresh yeast to make French loaves of bread today. And it was,
Where'd you
and
get
I know
fresh
that
yeast?
sounds really normal because everybody's making bread, but I don't bake things. And
The
it was a
only
really
things
big
that
deal.
I've ever seen Kaylee cook are eggs, quesadillas, and
Pizza
a
rolls.
potato.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Charlie wants to join.
Hey, Charlie.
Charlie, please. Hi, Charlie.
Hey, Charlie.
He's been skulking in
Gates.
the corner for the whole time. So
I don't know where
like,
So is
Tommy is.
Tommy.
Yeah.
Where's your blanket, Charlie? What the hell?
where's your Yoda blanket?
Tommy.
Go get it. Go get it.
Oh
That's
my
like,
gosh.
That was the closest thing I've seen to somebody asking their pet, "Where's your toy? Go get your toy."
Do we have any more
excellent.
AMA questions left over?
Yeah, we do have a couple more, and let me get them out here. So, how often does Quince commission composers? Constantly. Probably
Yeah.
4 to 6 composers a year, depending on the year.
Our eyes are bigger than our mouths. I
Yes.
think that is true.
Yeah, stomachs are bigger than our, what is it? What's the phrase?
Our eyes are bigger than your stomach. Oh, please explain how Sia has not completely trashed her voice. She has, which is fine.
Yes.
She sounds great. And as Carrie said,
but she was rebuilt with technology. Like the $1 Million Man.
I mean,
Oh,
it's like
Charlie's
saying
back with his Yoda blanket.
yes.
Good job, Kaylee.
Yes, thank you. I got him this blanket. Anyone
nice.
that's still on this call, it's the baby from The Mandalorian.
Tommy just got here.
Child, actually.
Tommy got here, but he just
Love
spilled
it.
his beer on his shirt.
Oh,
Wow.
But it's a good Omaha Under the Radar shirt.
I have another question from the chat box. Which word makes you laugh when you say it out loud? I already have one.
What is it?
Undercarriage. It's my favorite word.
Oh my god.
What is your like laugh for saying undercarriage? Is it more like is it just kind of a sly little chortle, or is it like?
It's like a maniacal, it's like a Beavis and Butthead, like. Yeah, exactly.
So we have a question: is Billie Eilish going to ruin her voice? I can't even hear her when I turn the volume up.
The way she sings,
I don't think she will. I think she sounds good.
Yeah. She chooses to make a very breathy vocal production for what
She's also like 17.
Oh yeah, she's a child. Her vocal folds are made out of cartilage. They'll renew themselves. It'll be fine.
All my students want to sing Billie Eilish, and I don't get it. I don't understand the appeal. I'm gonna be honest.
It's music made for an era where everyone listens with earbuds or headphones.
Maybe that's like, what is it, like music that you make in your apartment?
Yeah.
Like bedroom music. Yeah.
Somebody should send her that whisper game thing that we did.
That's true.
She would kick our asses at that game.
Would.
I asked for a delivery into this office, and I have it, and he's squirmy.
Is it little bunny?
It is.
Yay.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe we didn't have this during the main show. 500 people could have seen your bunny.
And I can't believe that Carabino didn't try and jump on my lap while this was happening.
Okay,
was
we're
the
supposed to
first time
explain
ever.
who Billie Eilish is. Billie Eilish is a songwriter and pop singer. She and her brother are co-writers. She's done 2 albums, and some of her breakout songs were Ocean Eyes. She's that was one of her first ones that she wrote when she was like 12 or 13.
Didn't she win like 5 Grammys too or something?
Yes, the production is pretty amazing on that album. If you don't listen on earbuds and you put it on some big ass speakers, there's some good bass. And
seen a picture of a pop singer with green hair here and then dark hair here. That's her.
Can we do the bad guy?
Oh yeah, she wrote Bad Guy, and she's doing the new Bond theme song.
Really?
I know. I read one NPR article, and I am the expert.
Nailing it. Yeah, you know a lot. Wow.
I like to keep up with the kids. And she sings like this. Don't you know I know.
Oh my God. Aaron Neville style?
Yeah, but with less air.
Oh my God, Liz! I can't believe we didn't do an Aaron Neville's verse for the Celine. Can you do that now? Can you?
What's that mean?
You like this, and if I you like that. It was so long ago, but so.
Oh my God, Tommy's face right now is the best.
So here's my question: do you think? Oh, an Aaron Neville quartet. Oh, John Glover. Are you gonna write that for us?
We're waiting.
Here's
John
my question:
Glover.
Does
I would totally do that.
Does Aaron Neville do that with his with the glottis or with his diaphragm?
Probably some combination of both, right? Because like the onset sound is a combination of closure and breath, so like it's a coordination thing.
There's a sphincter involved here.
Yeah,
Multiple
there
sphincters.
is definitely a sphincter involved. There's at least 2.
Lots of coconut butter.
Okay, Jonathan Glover wants us to try an Aaron Neville quartet over Zoom with latency.
Ooh.
Okay.
Shit.
What are we gonna sing?
And if I touch you like this.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we sure that this is okay?
Here we go. Ready, And go. And I'm still recording.
She's still going. She's still going.
Oh.
Carrie commits. Okay.
Okay, if there,
all right.
I have one more Ask Us Anything for the group.
Okay, then we can call it.
If there were one random person on the planet that you would hope would hear Love Fail, who would it be?
Ooh.
Can be completely outlandish, never gonna
Werner
happen.
Herzog, 100%.
Oh! We do have a request for licensing, Carrie, so maybe it's Werner Herzog.
JJ says Bjork.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, smart.
Shit. I mean, maybe it's Abigail Washburn.
Good one.
We can get that dream project started.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, Garth Brooks.
You mean, wait a minute, Chris Gaines?
I thought that project was cool.
I'm sure you did.
Dixie Chicks. No, that's who I want to hear it. Dixie Chicks. Nellie Gaines.
I mean, we have a lot. I have a
Caitlin
lot of
said
albums
it's
in my
St.
house.
Vincent.
I can mail out whatever you need me to.
Oh,
Get me
okay.
an address, I will mail it out.
I mean, Garth Brooks isn't even on like Spotify or Tidal, so I don't think he's giving out his address.
Pigeons? Does he accept pigeons? I'm about to start training some pigeons.
Okay,
Wait, who's
guys.
his wife again? Trisha Yearwood.
Girl. Girl. Aren't you from...
Aerosmith.
Kaylee, aren't you from Missouri? You don't know what Trisha Yearwood is?
Is that her name? Is that his wife's name?
Garth Brooks is Trisha Yearwood's husband, okay?
Yeah, I understand.
Girl.
But I just didn't remember her name.
You know what? I'm impressed. I'm impressed that you even know her first name. So that...
Thank you.
Since you grew up listening to choral music, like Moses
Thank
Hogan
you.
and Morton Lordson.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, love you guys. Thanks to everyone who was watching and is still watching.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye, Charlie.
Bye.
Bye,
This was
Tommy.
fun.
Bye, buddy.
Thanks for the support. You guys are the best. Thank you all for watching.
Bye. Awesome, Mabel. Wow.
That was awesome. And coming back after the last track was kind of a cool move, right? For the super fans, those 23 people.
Oh, there's still 24 on right now.
Oh, I'm
so-
still on.
Oh yeah, mic went out. Yeah, they heard you. What did we say again?
Oh no. No, you're still on, the audio's on. I can hear you, damn it.
What did we say? I hope it wasn't terrible. It was fine.
That's funny.
Wait.
Matt.
All the fun?
Yeah.
What did I say?